All right. Good deal. As soon as Garrett is in, we will go ahead and get started. Yay. Oh, there he is. Awesome. Hello, Garrett.
Hello.
How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to Hello, Mickey. How are you doing? Great to see
Good.
you.
Good. You too. We are so excited to have you back on here with us in the new year. You guys, if you were not on this previous call a couple weeks ago, Garrett was on and kind of wrapped up the end of 2024, poured into our, I don't want to say little, but our OG team, and just kind of shared the excitement and the vision that Bravenly has and why he's here and where we're going. And just like the man uh, the man that he is, he kept his word when he said he was going to be back to pour into us some more at the beginning of 2025 and continue to cast that vision. Of course, we've got the big Bravenly Vision event next weekend, so I'm sure there's only so much he can say, knowing that that big event is happening soon. But like I said, he kept his word. He wants to come back and pour into us some more and just help us crush all of our goals that we have for 2025. So, that being said, I'm going to mute myself. Garrett, thanks so much in advance, and I'll give you the floor.
Well, first of all, thank you. It's exciting to be on. I've got another coffee, so with the goals, because tomorrow I leave for Miami. I'm going to be going to the Direct Selling University event for LATAM. And the Latin American market is a big market, not just in LATAM, but in the United States. So I'm going to be there tomorrow. But going from the Pacific Northwest, as people know, it's almost like going home to Ireland. So happy New Year to you all. It's great to be on here with you as well. And I want you to know this can be more of a conversation than really a presentation. Take some notes. If you've got some questions, we can ask them as well. I want this to be something that helps. I was really thinking about this. I mean, I've given a lot of thought to this since, talked with Sarah and talked with Mickey and talked with you all going, hey, I want to bring value. What can make a difference? And so here's some of the things that I wrote down. First of all, like when I think of all of you, particularly what I call the OGs, one of the things that you want to think about is that leaders see more and before. So listen to what that is. Leaders see more, they see more than other people, and they see before other people see it. So I want you to think about that. Leaders see more and before. And that is true of this team. You guys saw more and before everybody else, and you guys acted upon it. If you had not, this company would not be, because there has to be phase one in order to phase two and phase three. In other words, and everybody wants to be the first to be second. I've said this many times before. Now, here's the challenge. And I want you to write this down as we start building the business. You don't need everybody to join your business. You don't need everybody at all. But what you do need is not to get distracted by those who don't see it, are those who joined you and no longer see it, are those that joined you and see it, but they're not doing it, are those that see it, are joining you, are doing it, and then have stopped because they've got into crippling, chronic comparison. Does everybody know what that looks like? So think about this. So the challenge, Kristen, if you think about this, if most of us, our experience in life, Christopher, comes from a job. So in other words, we've learned to make money in a job. Does that, no, I'm not knocking jobs. So please hear me. This is not a knocking jobs. There's an incredible, great work out there. Without jobs, most of our lives wouldn't go around. We should give the best of ourselves to the jobs that we have. That's not what I'm saying here. But in a job, there is something when it comes to promotion. It's a zero-sum game. In other words, if one person has the promotion, you're not getting the promotion, correct? If somebody's in that spot, the only way for you to get them in that spot is for them to well, I guess pass away, get fired, get promoted. Is you know what I mean? It's there's only one spot. But the thing about this in network marketing, what we're doing is we can generate as many of those as we want. So this is why it's important that we don't get in that place. So we start getting into a place whereby we slow down. And think about this. You can be in a place where you don't even realize it, but you are accepting the scraps off the table. In other words, you're going, all I'm getting is the scraps. Everybody else is getting the business. Everybody else's life is really cool. Everything else is really cool. Like, for example, how many of you have looked at some people's social media for the new year and you're already going, I'm already behind? You know, they're you're going, oh my gosh, they got it all together. Look at the vision board they have. They've got this perfect vision board. And you go, look at this. They got this perfect plan. They got this perfect coach. They got all these things. You know, they're making fun of me because I waited till Monday to get started and all these things. We need to kind of leave all of that away because what happens is the opportunity, what could be a teacher, in other words, pull us forward, has become a tormentor. In other words, it's torturing us. Does that make sense? How you look at things is so important. And I really want to help every one of us that are here, Bridget, move ourselves forward, not get stuck, do the opposite of get stuck, really move forward and make it happen. And you really have a choice. You're either going to have things are going to be a tormentor or it can be a teacher. But who decides what that is? It's you. Nothing has any meaning until you assign meaning to it. So think about this. Nothing has any meaning until you assign meaning to it. So every one of us, I want to help us to develop a mindset that's going to be more powerful for this year. So let's talk about a few of these things. Number one, I want you to write this one down because I wrote it down for myself as one of the top things I want to do this year when it comes to my health. I want to celebrate consistency, not just intensity. Think about this. I want to celebrate consistency, not just intensity. How many of us know that we have periods in our life where we have intensity, but we don't really do something consistently for the whole year? What if, I can see Christopher nodding, maybe for the rest of you, that's not true. What if we were to change that? Does that make sense? In other words, we make a change and that's something that's different. So here's another one. I wrote this down. I don't know where I got it from, but I've been preparing for this call with you guys, and I'm also going to be preparing for the call on Saturday. And I've been thinking about things. If we're going to celebrate consistency and not just intensity, then we want to look at what can we do, not just for a day line, but for a decade. So Lori, you look at that, you go out there and you've coached lots of people and you look at them and say, yes, that's a good plan. When I look at what you're suggesting you're going to do, I can see you being able to do that for a very short period of time, maybe as a sprint, but I can't see that being something that you're going to be able to do long term. Does that make sense? And what people tend to do, or I should say I tend to do, is I stop doing it. And then when you stop your results, you get out of momentum, and it's hard to get going again. Does everybody see that? I don't know if anybody's experienced that. So maybe this time around, we want to approach things just a little bit differently. So if you look at this chronic comparison, the reason I've been thinking about this, because you guys are the OG team. I know what it's like to be the OG team. I know what it's like to be in this position. I know what it's like to be in that. And one of the things, hold on one second. So we can be our own worst enemy. And this is one of the things that I want to try and help us all really get to a new place. Instead of being our worst enemy, let's be our best cheerleader. Let's create around ourselves a group of people that's going to cheerlead us and help us build together. So if you look at it, I don't know how many people here would raise their hand when do you say, okay, I want this year to be, I don't know. So Wendy, I don't know what you're looking to create. Kimberly, I don't look what you're looking to, Amanda, I don't know what you're looking to create. But assuming that everybody here has something new that you would like to create in this year, what you want to do is get around some people who will be your cheerleader. But not just a cheerleader, you want to get into an environment where people will also coach you. So, how do we create that? So, one of the things I want to do is raise my hand and say, hey, I can contribute potentially to come on your calls, maybe once every 4 or 5, 6 weeks, if that is something that can help create some consistency, in your year. In other words, you guys do a call every single week. You guys do a fantastic job. You don't need me. But if it were something that could play a role whereby I could come on board and we could talk, so I could chat with Lori, I could chat with Mickey, I could chat with Sarah, could chat with some of you and say, okay, how do we create this environment for growth where we got both some cheerleading and some coaching? Does that make sense? In other words, your environment's going to work harder on you than you are in your environment. How do we know that we're not just going to do this in one moment? It's going to take us a little while to make this thing happen. So if all of us look at what's going to make the difference, how many of you know, or maybe suspect, or maybe have been kind of thinking in your mind that the opportunity for growth is not just in doing more, but it's in maybe doing the things you're not doing? Does that make sense? In other words, it's not just doing more, it might be doing the things you're not doing. So, what might be some of those things? The challenge is if we look back in last year, sometimes we look back at it and we beat ourselves up. Does that make sense? In other words, instead of helping ourselves, we beat ourselves up. But what might some of those things that we could look back at that could help us? If we're going to celebrate consistency and not just intensity, if it's not just something we can do for, one day, it's something we could do for a decade. Wouldn't it make sense that it's something that we can find a way to put in our calendar? How many of you, without raising your hand, Kimberly, know that a lot of last year, there were a lot of days, there were definitely a lot of weeks, there were a lot of months where you approached your business and said, I'll do my business tomorrow when I find time. So like I can see Jen looking at looking right now pretty intensely at the screen and smiling and thinking to herself, yes, that's true. But finding time tends to be what? Inconsistent. Making time will create consistency. In fact, if you look at this, if you show me the rituals of your day and I'll show you the rest of your life. But there are no rituals if there is no calendar. Does that make sense? They're just things that you do. They're not rituals. They haven't elevated themselves to being a ritual if you just periodically do them, not consistently do them. Do you see the theme? I'm trying to help us all here because what can happen is many times we look at other people and go, man, they're not more talented than me. You look at their social media and you go, they're doing this. But what you miss is they're probably just doing the things that you are not doing on a consistent basis that you're capable of doing. And when you realize that, you go, oh my gosh, now why do people not post about the boring things like consistency? Because that's not sexy, that's not cool, that's not intense, that's not social media, that doesn't attract lots of likes, but that doesn't help you. The key to it is probably the success that you're looking for is in the consistency. So let's have a look at how do we create some consistency. I think one of the things that you want to look at is who you're building the business with. So if you're going to be the average of the 5 people that you hang out with most, and you don't need everybody in your business, but you need to be not distracted by those that don't, you need to find someone new to build your business together with. So I would challenge everybody that's on here, regardless if you're in your business, regardless if it's Lori, whether it's Mickey, whether it's Sarah, whether it's Kimberly, whether it's Jen, Sharon, Heidi, Tara, any one of you. If you want more this year, now I'm assuming that you do. If you want more this year, and I'm assuming that you do, I'm going to challenge you, Heidi, to find a new person, an additional person for you to work with. In other words, you are looking for people who are looking. Your job is to find them, not create them, not cajole them, not convince them, find them. Can you create a daily method of operation, a DMO, that on a daily basis, you can find some people, one more person that you're looking for? Don't get caught up in they're not ready right now. You're looking for people who are looking, who want to do something about their current situation. When? Right now. That'll finish. Now remember, there's 3 parts here. Looking for people who are looking right now, who want to do something about their current situation. When? Right now. Not people that are getting ready to get ready, who want to do it in the future, which are fine. You just don't want to be distracted about them waiting. And then the third thing is you're looking for people who are looking, who want to do something about their current situation, who will finish. Don't raise your hand, but how many people on here have people that you started in the business, Heidi? With, Laura, that you started in the business, Catherine, that you started in the business, who are no longer working right now, or not as intensely working right now. They're not doing it right now. Does that make sense? So does everybody get a sense for that? So how would we do that? So I want to share with you. Already, Mickey mentioned this, that on Saturday we got Vision 2025. I want you to think about, could you show someone the business, in other words, this week, to a level of intensity that they're in a position to join you on that Zoom next week? Now, whether it's in person, I don't know how many of you here, maybe Mickey and, Lori, or, Sarah. I don't know which of you guys, Christopher, Becky, I don't know which of you guys are perhaps doing an event. In other words, you're doing an event locally, or you're doing an event in person on set. You raise your hand, I can see that. Okay, it doesn't really matter whether you're doing it in person or online. But let's say, for example, I was working with Christopher. Let's say, Christopher, who, if you were to really think about it, if your life depended on it, if your children's future depended upon it, if the only people that you were ever allowed to approach again about building a business in Bravenly are only the people that you have approached between now and Saturday. And think about that. Could you reach out to those people and approach them and talk to them? You could. Every one of us could. Particularly if you said, well, what if your whole future depended upon it? What if your kids' future depended upon it? What if the things that are important to you depended upon it? Of course you could. Because you just want to approach, you're looking for the people who are looking. You're not worried about whether they're going to do it. You just want to know, are they open right now? And the reason I'm saying this is that if you had this in your mind, you could approach people and then have them show up on Saturday. One of the things we're going to talk about on Saturday is the vision for the year. One of the things we're going to talk about on Saturday is we hit $50 million. We went from $1 million that first year, $1.5 million. Who did that? You did. You made that happen. Then the next year, the company went to what? $8 million. Then the third year, it went to $90 million. The fourth year, it went to $50 million. Next year, it's going to do $100 million. Do you want to do this together with me? How many of you know that you perhaps could have that conversation pretty simply with a lot of people? And those that said, well, what are you talking about? Said, hey, I'm glad you asked me, because I'm really putting together an inner circle of people that I want to build a business with. Because if we get them to Saturday, what will we focus on Saturday doing? Getting them to convention. And I want to tell you, why would convention be important? Because I believe that the people that go to convention with you will build with you. I believe that people go to convention. Now, I don't know these numbers exactly. I think that Eric Worre has shared them, in his previous events and talks about big data and traveling around the world and, the results at events. Now, there's no guarantee of income, guys, with anything that we ever do in life. We all understand that. But this is something that we can look at. So for every one person that you have at a major event, statistically, what you've seen is those people will go out and enroll 10 new people. And of those 10 new people, they will go out there and influence 100 people. So over the course of the next year, each one of those 10 people do what? They go out there and talk and influence 10 more people. So what you want to do is, here's another number. Eric Worre shares this one. So if you want to make $1,000 a year, or you want to make $10,000 a year, one of the simplest ways to do it is have 10 people at convention. That generally over the course of a year, it works out that at your biggest convention, and sometimes companies do 2 a year, so you get 2 shots at this. Does that make sense? In other words, you have one that we've in February, you have another one later on in the year, that you make $1,000 a year per person you have a convention. So think about this. Let's say you start off this event, you go to this event, and it's you and you're going on your own. But you work at this and you get one other person to go with you. So you're now 2 people. Guess what? If you went out there and enrolled 10 people, and then this person went out and enrolled 10 people, how much better would your business be if you had 20 new excited people join your business? It would be incredibly exciting. And I want to tell you guys, so often, what's important is you operate in accordance with your belief. I know I keep saying this about conventions, but at convention, one of the things that happens, Sarah, one of the things that happens, Vicky, no matter who you are, is that your belief goes to another level. You develop an unshakable belief, that's the contagious belief, that's a belief that will spread. So if I was working with Bridget and said, Bridget, are you really, and she shared to me, she said, Garrett, I really want to have a breakout year this year. My goal is that I want to, at the end of this year, be making an extra $10,000 a year. Or I, at the end of this year, want to be making an extra $20,000 a year. And I say, great. How committed are you to this? He goes, I'm really committed to it. It's important to me. It's important to my family. Over the next 3 to 5 years, I'd love to be in a place where I'm full time. I'd love to be in a place whereby I have a solid income that's 6 figures a year, because this is what I see. I want to have money for my kids. I want to have money for college. I want to have money for retirement. I want to not be at risk, financially. I just want to have whatever that might look like. Think about that. I don't know what that is for someone. I would say the number one thing that I would be working on is getting Bridges to be on Saturday. Help her find one more excited person that can be on Saturday together with her, or 2 more people if we can get 2 or 3. And from there, what we want to do is have Bridget attend the event at convention, but also have her bring someone else together with her. Because what's going to happen when you come out of convention, guys, I'm just going to say it. First of all, have you ever struggled with getting someone to create a list? When they come out of convention, they can't, it's easier for them to create a list. They go, man, I'm excited about this. I can see this. Or maybe you're the type of person who likes to build with social media, or maybe you're like the type of person who likes to build online. Everything that you need to see will be at convention. In other words, you'll have this belief. Faith is belief without evidence. There's going to be so much evidence that'll walk across that stage. I can say that Kristen, there's going to be so many people walk across stage. I can look at her face and she's smiling right now and just go, Kristen, I will tell you 3 things will happen. Number 1, you'll see so many people walking across stage that there'll be handfuls of stories that you will aspire. You go, if I could create that in my life, I would be excited. That's number 1. So in other words, you'll have an aspirational story. The second thing that's going to happen, Kristen, is that you're going to be able to access that story. In other words, They're without a relativeness to the story. In other words, Kristen's going to go, I relate to that story. I relate to that person. I relate to what they overcame. I have a strong I relate to that person. In fact, I'm now going, I want that. And I'm linked on to what it is that they're saying, like a tractor beam. Does that make sense? In other words, I can really see it. And then the third A happens. They talk about an action step. And whether that action step is social media, whether that action step is 100% building face to face and handing out products, or everything in between, suddenly she wants to get started or she wants to build her business with a level of belief that she didn't have before. And what happens is it goes to another level. Someone creates a list. Have you ever, let me give you another example. Let's say it's Christopher I'm working with. Christopher might be talking to me and say, Garrett, I really want to build a business. I've created a list. I feel like I've called most of my friends and they just don't want to meet me. I feel like that I've talked to a lot of people. I've showed them what I'm doing, but they've just not, guess they've not really got involved. Or I've got a few people involved, but they've not got launched. I say, fantastic. Let's go to convention. And Christopher goes, okay, well, let's bring someone together with you. And Christopher's at convention. He sits down and he's watching convention. And he watches Todd Smith goes across stage. He watches someone that's in the Amish community go across stage that's 100% handing out products, that's building in a way that he looks at, I could do that. He sees another person go across stage and he sees all these people going across stage and he's talking to Sarah, he's talking to Mickey, he's talking to, just having a conversation, goes, you know what? I related to what, 5 or 6 of those stories. I realize that as I aspire to be who they are, I can access their story because I can relate to it. And the action steps that they do to build a business, I can also do. So suddenly he's talking to Laurie. He goes, Laurie, I'm recreating my list. I'm more excited about it. And Laurie goes, fantastic. But here's the thing that happens. So Christopher then rings up, texts or talks to those people to set up a meeting. In other words, he's sitting at convention and said, John, I know that I've texted you before and you said you weren't interested. I keep thinking about you. You and I got to meet when I get back. And suddenly he's different in what he texts. He's different in what he says. He feels differently about it. And suddenly things get unlocked. In other words, the people that wouldn't meet with them are meeting with them. The people that were talking to him, that weren't getting started, were getting started. The people that were getting started, but weren't getting launched, are getting launched. Those people who were getting launched, but were getting stuck, or getting unstuck. Those people who couldn't rank advance are suddenly rank advancing. Why? Because of his belief. When you put two people together, it's not the person with the best script that wins. It's the person with the biggest belief. And if you want to help to short circuit someone's level of success, you need to get them to convention. You need to get them there, and you need to get them there with someone else. And if I was sitting down right now with any one of you that are on here, and you share with me that you have any level of desire to build a business between now and the end of the year, I would be going, okay, let's pick out a handful of people that you would love to build a business with that we can talk to this week, and we can focus on getting them on Saturday. Now, if they don't come on Saturday, we're not going to give up. Does that make sense? We're just creating a short intensity of something that we can do for Saturday. On Saturday, hey, maybe no one came, but you get another level of belief and you work and say, I'm going to keep working until I have got someone else going to convention with me. And you know that that's your goal. I will tell you this. I've said this to Lori. I've said it to Chris. I've said it to all of you. It's not the most talented person that wins. It's the most focused. And the right strategy at the wrong time will bring you pain. But the right strategy at the right time will bring you growth. And I will tell you, the right strategy right now. It doesn't mean that you can't build if you don't go to convention. It doesn't mean that you're going to be left behind and you're never going to build. It doesn't mean that you can't build your business. It just means that you're not tapping into the easiest way to build, which is with a new belief system. In other words, new wine in new wineskins. You want to get to convention. I know many of you are sitting, I'm going to finish with this and say, I don't know if it's possible. Guys, unstoppable means accepting no excuses. Does everyone, what is an entrepreneur? I know Laurie coaches people. Entrepreneurs are people who solve problems. I mean, that's simply what entrepreneurship is. So if Sarah Levenberg, was working with her kids and her kids had got a problem, say, okay, do you give up or do you figure out a way to solve the problem? We figure out a way to solve the problem. So let's look at why when you so you're looking for people you want to work with. Let's say you talk to someone and Mickey P says, okay, do you want to go to convention? They go, yes, I'd love to convention, but does that make sense? They come up with something and say, but um, my husband or my wife is tired of hearing me say that I'm going to do something. I have not made any money in this business. They feel like that would be a waste of money. I say, okay, that's a good reason not to go. Go, is there anything else? But I don't have a convention ticket. No, why don't you have a convention ticket? Because I didn't want to buy one because I didn't think I'd be able to go. Okay. But I don't have an airline to get there. I don't know how to get there. I don't have a hotel room. Who knows what those things are? And you ask the question, if we were able to solve those problems, I just want to know that you would go and that you believe this is something that can really help you get to where you want to go. And most people go, absolutely. But they get overwhelmed by things. And leadership is you do something, you help people to do what they would not have done if you were not involved in the equation. So if I was working with Becky, I'd say, great. What if, let's say Laurie, what if Sarah, what if Mickey, what if one of us were to have a conversation with your husband, with your wife, and explain why you want to go to convention, that we're going to commit to working together with you this year, that we're committed to creating that goal, Terry, Tammy, that you're looking to create, that we're going to make it happen, that we're going to work together with you, that we're going to partner together with you. So you create the willingness, okay, I can buy into that, but what are we going to do about whatever that might be? I don't have a ticket. What I would do is look around and find someone that's not going that you can find a ticket. There's always tickets to every convention. There's always people. If you were to look around and say, hey, I've got a friend who really wants to go to convention. She can't afford to pay the full price of the ticket. Is there any way you could sell me the ticket or give me the ticket? What could I do? If you call people and ask people, I bet you, Sarah, if you had somebody on the team who raised their hand and said, I can't afford a ticket, do you all think you could find a ticket for that person at a price that they could? I can see Mickey's nodding. I can see Laurie's nodding. So that doesn't need to be the problem. We can deal with that. Another one that people go, I don't have an airline. I can't fly. Guys, I can't tell you how many times that I've helped people realize that they can go to friends and say, do you have any air miles? Do you have any way that you can help me? I really want to do this. If you made it and be unstoppable and say, I'm really excited about this. This is something I really want to do. Can you help me do it? Most people, if they've got air miles, they'll help you. Most people, if they believe that you want to do something, will help you. If you really believe, and this is what I'm trying to get to, come on Saturday. If you really believe it can make a difference, you'll make it happen. Here's the last one, hotel room. I never let a hotel room be the reason. Guys, the Renaissance Hotel, I've done probably 10 conventions at the Renaissance Hotel with my wife, Sylvia, for the Association of Network Marketing Professionals. They have got some great suites. Nearly all the rooms are suites. They're really big rooms. It's really cool. I'm not saying that this is what you should do, but I can't tell you how many times that we've done a sleeping bag campaign. In other words, we've had people that raised their hand and said, hey, if you can get yourself there, bring a sleeping bag because you can stay in my room. Guys, there's no reason not to be there. If you want to solve these problems, in fact, I will tell you this, the more someone has to go through to get to convention, the more impactful convention will be. It's easier to make a hungry person smart than a smart person hungry. I'm going to finish with this. Can you believe, with all honesty, if someone overcame that, was able to change their mind, change the mind of their family that they can go, get a ticket, find a way to get to the event, and got a hotel room to sit in that they're going to spend their time in the hallways? Or are they going to be sitting in a convention? They're going to be sitting in a convention. They're going to watch and squeeze every minute out of it. When they see someone walk across stage that has something that they want, are they going to hear it? Knock and it shall be open to you. Seek and you shall find. It's the intensity with which they're going to look at it. They're then going to look at that person going, oh my gosh, they talked about how broke they were, how little support that they were receiving, how they were, how they didn't have, people around them that was helping them build, that they'd never seen anyone succeed before, that they tried to do before and it didn't work for them. And they're suddenly accessing that story and they're literally going forward in their seats. They're literally taking notes. You can see the transformation in them. And then they're locked on that person saying, this is what I did to build a business. And they're taking notes and you realize that they're going, and they're suddenly going, I just thought of someone that I need to call. And so they're going, listen, John, listen, Mary, listen, Fred, I'm here right now and I just thought about you. We need to get together when I get home. What happens is they build a business. Guys, I'm going to finish with this. I had it back right now to Mickey or to Sarah, to Lori. Guys, be on Saturday, but be on there with the openness. If this is something that you want to do, I want you to know I make no money if you show up to convention. None. I don't want anything from you. What I want is something for you. I don't want anything from you. What I want is something for you. And what I want for you is not just a new life. It's a new belief system because you act in accordance with your belief system. I want you to take the shortcut to the easiest way to install a new belief system is at convention. The easiest way to learn French is to go to France. The easiest way to learn Spanish is to go to Spain. We're not having to go to France. We're not having to go to Spain. We are going to go to convention. It's not the other way. You can learn with Duolingo or anything else. You can learn that way and you can do it that way and you can perhaps even succeed that way. We all know that. But if you're looking me in the eyes and you are 100% a little bit frustrated, you are 100% going, man, why is everyone else succeeding? You are 100% in this place and you're deciding to yourself, you know what? Success lies not just in what I am doing or doing more of what I am doing, it's in what I'm not doing. And maybe considering not going to convention is not the right idea. Maybe I want to reconsider this. Maybe I deserve something more. Maybe I want to make this thing happen. And I know this has been pretty intense, but I started off with, what if you want something new in your life? So, guys, if there's anything that I can do to help with this, I would gladly do so. I am open to, like I said, if you think there's value in it, that I'll show up, once every 4 or 5, 6 weeks and be on one of your calls so we can be consistent. When we're at convention, that we can all huddle up together and we can find a way to. In fact, here's a challenge. I want those of you that are not going to convention right now, that change your mind and are going to go to convention, to come up to me at convention and say, you know what? I changed my mind after that call on Monday night. Or I changed my call after the call on Saturday. Or I changed my mind and I'll be there. And there's some of you like Christopher, I want you not only to introduce, say, hey, I changed my mind. Here's my friend that's going with me. I want Sarah to say, here's someone that's going with me that wasn't going before. Mickey, introduce me to someone that says, I want you to introduce to my friend that was not going to convention. They weren't even on my radar on Monday night, and they're here with me at convention. I'm looking forward. I want Tammy to do the same thing. And guys, I don't want anyone else that's on here that just figured out I can't go to feel less than. That's not the goal. To feel like that you can succeed, you can. You're just asking the question, what's going to be the simplest way to get there? I believe this is the way to make it happen. So God bless you. Happy New Year to you. I hope this wasn't, what's the word? Too intense or too direct. But I wanted to bring something to the call that can make a difference. And I'm looking forward to Saturday. Some of this I'm going to share again on Saturday. So if you're thinking you had people that you would love to hear this on Saturday, it's going to be in context of the whole event that's going to be on Saturday. Be there on Saturday. And guys, I mean this, whatever you choose to do, you deserve all of the success.
Thank you so
Whatever you
much,
choose to
Garrett.
do, I am very grateful that you would even consider giving me the time that you just gave me. And let me hand the call back. Is it Sarah that's going to hand it back to
Yeah.
you? Back to Sarah. All right. Cheers, guys. God bless. I'll mute and say thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, like this is smack dab in the middle of his dinner time. So thank you for being on here with us again, twice in a month. And you guys, Garrett called me. Was it Friday or Saturday? I think it was Saturday, maybe I don't know, Friday. I was on the way to bring my son to a doctor's appointment. My phone rang and I was like, Garrett McGraw is calling me? Like, there's no way. This is a mix up. He's not meaning to call me. And I answered it and he was like, Happy New Year. How are you? I hope you had a great holiday. Hey, I have you down on my calendar for the beginning of January because we said last month I would follow up with your team. I want to get back on with the Brave Tribe. Are we still on for Monday? I'm like, it's Friday. He's super busy. He travels all over. He runs the A&MP, going to the DSU. Like, there's just no way. But like he's saying in 3 days, we're getting on another call. Yeah, Garrett, matter of fact, would you please be willing to? He's like, yep, I already have it on my calendar. And here we are, you guys. Like, that's just the person he is. And I know it sounds like we're like conference, convention, but like we've been at all of them. If you've been here since the beginning, you've been at all of them too. Garrett's been at the last several, but like it truly is life changing. There are tears, there are laughter, there are side conversations. Like you're talking about people that you will be inspired by and aspire to be like, but like you'll hear your story through other people, you guys. And it's that thing that I've probably said to Tammy 25 times, but she's going to hear it from Laura Bangar and she's going to shoot to the next level. And, it's the thing that we can say a million times or hear a million times, but it's from that one person with the Southern accent or Mississippi that says it, and it's going to hit different, and you're going to have a heart change, and you're going to run to the stars. So I know it sounds like we're like, get there, but like because we've been there and we know how truly this thing has changed our lives. So we're excited. We'll make sure you plug it on Saturday, and we hope to see you all not only next week but in February. So thanks again,
Each
Gary.
one reach one, bring a new person to Saturday. God bless you. Love you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye bye.